Alright, let me just make sure scene switcher's on. This isn't going to be the most professional of things, but it's all stuff that I wish I knew when I started, and I hit a lot of roadblocks starting that I think I could at least point people in the right direction to like not have to get stuck and stagnate. I started literally like just new player lobby like 1200 and then got to where I wanted to like a decent 1700. I probably only feel comfortable calling myself like high 1600 to insanely low 1700 on Boobly. And Hun Wars in like year and a half or whatever it was. Sorry, there's a lot of stuff I take for granted that I'm gonna have to explain. And damn it, I'm gonna keep this under 15 minutes. So first thing is I'm going to post a build order, and it looks daunting at first, but it's pretty basic, and every build's kind of the same for every matchup and stuff like that, so it's not that bad. The first thing is you need to find your first starting sheep as soon as possible because you need them under your TC and to help scout. If you want to do that, I wouldn't worry about it starting out. You want it under your TC so you can harvest it so that you can make vills. And the first 6 vills go to sheep because that's what you need for constant villager production. You always want to vill in queue because there's a little bit of command input lag, so that if there's virtually no lag, you're always going to lose a half second every time, even if you're spamming the key. Literally, when this other vill hits 100% and you're spamming the key like the entire time, you're always going to lose at least a half a second. And there's a lot of lag in this game because there's people playing from like other countries and stuff, and way more than SC2. So you're actually losing like 3 to 5, let's just call it 3 to 4 like real life seconds for lag, and the game time is 1.5x speed. So if you're losing even 2 seconds like real life time, you're losing 3 seconds game time, right? And that's going to add to your feudal click up time, and you're just going to keep getting behind and more behind. One thing is this game's like way more forgiving as far as losing bills and not being like 100% efficient than SC2 or Brood War. By the same token, the Dark Age is free, and there's like no excuse that it shouldn't be as efficient as possible. And it's actually like really hard to do. Like I'm still working on it now because there's other stuff you have to take into account later on, like scouting the map and like what the other guy's doing and stuff. And yeah, I've noticed even a lot of like 1500 players, they just have like really bad Dark Ages in general. Oh, you get 4 starting sheep and you get 4 extra sheep that are always in pairs unless you look out and they're all together. So he's got his 4 starting sheep. He already got his 2 extra sheep there, like right here, and here's his last 2 sheep right there. So that's all you need to find with the scout and your 2 boar. First things first, though, I like to find the first 4 starting sheep with the scout, and then with 2 of the extra sheep and/or my scout out the wood line, just to find like a good spot to put the lumber camp. I'm gonna skip efficiency for now. I'm actually gonna do a second video on it, but just trying to follow more of the general build order. So 6 on sheep, 3 on wood. Next guy goes to lure a boar, and this goes to sheep. I always remember 12 goes to berries. I'm getting ahead of myself. These are so hard to do, man, because there's so much you take for granted. When you lure the boar, you want to shoot it twice and then run back, because the boar will kill you. And you can see it does 7 damage with each hit, so you can only take 4 hits without loom. If you want, when you're starting out and you want to just get loom for the first boar, it's fine. Later on, you always want to skip it though, because like literally all the very top players just always skip it. You'll see some like, I guess the equivalent would be like high masters players and even low grandmasters getting it, but the very upper echelon of players just skip it, and so I just got used to kind of doing that. You want the board down under the TC, good job. You don't have to drop off there, you can go from food to food, so sheep to boar without losing any food, berries to boar, whatever. If you go from wood to gold or wood to food, anything but food basically, anything but food to food, you're going to lose the resources, so don't do that. You can see S2 still getting the sheep, then I'll move these to boar later. This is the 12th fill, it went to berries. Easy way I always like to remember it is that when it says 13 up here, that means this is the 13th fill coming from the TC. Earlier it said 12, so that meant it was the 12th fill coming from the TC. But basically from 12, 13, 14, 15. So starting on 12, you go to berries and you want 4 on berries is the way you do it that way. So it's pretty easy. As far as when to get the second boar, I wouldn't want to start going to get it. And Jordan saw that it was over here earlier. It went back in the fog. I would want to get it about right now when it's 200 food. You kind of get used to when you should get it, though. Yeah, this is a little late. 175 is a little late. And, like, I'm cheating too. Like, I'm just honestly going off what it feels like for me. But I know it comes a little late in this rec, too. But it just feels not. Like, 200 feels better. Anyway, you can see here he's going to skip loom. And then he's going to use the sheep to block the boar. You can use your scout, too. But usually your scout's off scouting other stuff. So it's better to use the sheep if you can. Shoot it twice, run away. Boar will do 1.5 times damage on the hill, going downhill. Boom, kiss the boar. Didn't get hit at all. But instead of 7 damage, it would do 11 damage because you round up. So it would do 10.5 damage, round it up to 11. Then you make a farm after the first boar is dead or thereabouts, or after the second boar is dead. It's not a perfect science. Sometimes you want to focus on killing the second boar and not losing a vill. But you can see the injured vills on the farm. And then you keep going to food with the TC until it's on the 18th vill goes to wood. So this vill will go to wood because it's on 18. You can see he's rallied to his wood. And I just always make the second farm whenever I have 60 wood because you need to jump back and start scouting with other stuff. When you're starting out, I won't even worry about the scout though because that'll just screw you up. You want to feel what the build is like at his like optimal efficiency. So I think just practice even the same map seed or practice on all visible just so you can see where everything is, just to see how much stuff you should have out. And I'll give the benchmark that you need to follow at the end of this at 10:30 to kind of show if you had a proper dark age or not, because it's not just all about like sending the right bills on the right number to the right resource. It's about efficiency and not having idle time. You can see here too, he's like moving his vills so that they're hitting the wood like right around the lumber camp. You do 5 on a lumber camp, and this vill is going to build a second lumber camp, and you see he's going to put it like right here for like maximum efficiency. When you're starting out, I won't worry too much about it. It's kind of crazy to micro the wood. Then you end up with 5 on sheep. It looks like you sent 4 to wood. The way I always remember it is you always want 5 on sheep, the rest go to wood. Or you can just box your vills. And the way I have my minimap set up here on the left, it'll show 9 here on this row, plus 1 is 10 vills on wood. So that's something Viper told me, which is crazy. It's like total overkill for Viper, right? It's like the best player telling you, oh, that's how I know how many I have on wood. I just like box my guys and it's 10 that way. But if you move, it's an option on Voobly, because normally it shows 15 bills up here in each row, not 9 on each row, so this would be 18 bills. You actually have to move the minimap, so you have to go to like the Voobly window. I don't know how to do this in HD, I don't think you can. Resolution tool, command bar position all the way on the left. That ends up moving the minimap over here. If it's all the way over here on the right, like it is like standard by default, it's 15 bills on each row. It makes it harder to count stuff. Yeah, then he gets loom at the end, and you want to click up at, first of all, like what I would be shooting for is clicking up at like 8 minutes, below 8 minutes, 10 seconds. Like, you can do it even incrementally, like shoot for 8:30 or less, and then go for like 8:20 or less. The only trick to that is just always keeping a vill in the TC, and dropping food when you need it, so you always have 50 food for the next vill to be queued up or whatever. If you can help it get your second boar before the first one is dead, don't worry too much about the food lining up. Even the best top players don't do that. It's better earlier than later. It's something another good player told me, Spring. And it's so true. Everyone I've seen that's a stickler for eco has done that. It's better to have a little bit of food rot and have that boar in earlier than it is to have it later to either possibly get stolen or to be a little wrong. Barely matters at all. So yeah, earlier the better. If for the timing people, I usually send the vill no later than 5:30 to lure the second boar, because it'll be done under the TC at the 6-minute mark, and then 8 vills will harvest that in time to click up. It's about 300 food from like the 350 food from the boar because of rot. Uh, if you do it any later, like 6:30, it starts to get really tight, and you actually have to change your build order and put the vills that would normally be going to wood to bore, which isn't good because they're not quite as efficient because of bumping. It gets a little messier later when you need to send them back to wood, and everything doesn't quite line up quite as well. It's not that big of a deal if it happens, but you have to end up putting more vills on the board to get the food harvested in time to click up at around the 8-minute 5-second mark or 8:02. Looks like Jordan clicked up at 8:01 in this rec. Yeah, so he's got 5 on sheep, 10 on wood. You can see how nice his wood line looks. I'll harp on that later. You can see how all his vills around berries are like right next to the patches by the mill. Because they'll have a tendency just to walk around, and sometimes they'll be going to this one or this patch or whatever. That's why it's so micro-oriented, I guess. When I hit like 50 to 55% feudal, I send the vill to go build a barracks because you want that barracks down started when it's 60% feudal. Not that big of a deal because you make it'll end up being done right when you hit feudal and you use 2 or more vills to make these stable anyway. If you use 2 vills to make a building, it'll build in 2/3 the time. And if you use 4 vills to make a building, it builds in half the time as 1 vill would make it. So you get diminishing returns making a building with more than 1 vill. It always builds like, I don't know what to call it. I guess literally diminishing returns. I don't know how fast 8 vills build it, but it's not like, it's like not that much better than 4. Once you hit feudal, I'll skip it, but I'll gloss over it. You make a stable, you get some upgrades, the wood and the farm upgrades. I'll cover it in the next video. He starts a stable. I'm more worried about the 10:30 mark because this is where I pause it to make sure to check my dark age versus everyone else's. So this is Jordan on a really good map. He tends to have incredible dark ages, especially on the good maps. And he has 1 sheep left, which is like really good because it saves him a little bit of wood later on. I won't harp on that too much right now. If you go to achievements and then go to eco though, so 1740 wood is good, food is good. It's 929 wood. It ends up being 2669 resources. What I noticed is like all the 2K players will have like around 2500, 2440 to 2550, let's call it resources. If you're in the 23x mark, like 2350 is like not enough. And you want at least like 1650 food. So like 1676 food would be you're fine here. And Chocobo ended up going up 21 pop, so his should be a little lower. But not a great dark age, but it's not bad either. Food is the first thing, so you want to go scouts and they're food heavy, right? So if you're below 1650 food, it's just like not good at all. And you're gonna have like a problem like really soon. It's gonna be a roadblock from like improving rating. You're gonna have to make up for it with micro and other stuff. And again, the dark age is free. Like just get it right in the dark age, right? I'm at 13 minutes. This is perfect. 1740 food's great. Again, he's at 2669 resources. It's one of the best dark ages I've seen from people. So I'll pause my rec. My first thing I want to do is just, since I already know the order and the exact like where to send each vill, I'll do that. I just want to click up at 8 minutes, 5 seconds or less. Like that's my second goal. My third goal, and these are all going on at the same time, I guess, is I want to get like maximum resources. And so I want to have like 2550 resources is like what I'm always shooting for. If you can get 2600, that's great. Sometimes you get bad map seeds, so like you can even use this map seed. I'll upload it, and like even just do it on all visible. Don't worry about the other guy. In fact, if I upload in the map seed, this guy won't even be doing anything. So just practice it up till this point, up till the 10:30 mark. Pause it, see if you did well or how bad it is, or if it's good, then no problem. And it gets way harder to do it with lag when you're having to worry about scouting and finding your stuff on a different map seed against a human player. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll end it here. I'll do another video on the efficiency of it, but that's the gist of it, and hopefully it helped.